Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome again by this sequence of interviews in the frame of the Excel Joint Undertaking Symposium 2021. We are today very happy and pleased to have with us Ms. Maria da Graça Carvalho. She is member of the European Parliament, she is member of the ITRE committee, and she is rapporteur of the SBA, the Single Basic Act. Ms. Carvalho, welcome.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to answer some questions about the report on the partnerships.
Thank you. We have been working, we know each other well, we have been working quite some time together, and obviously the fact that you are the rapporteur of the Single Basic Act, the founding document of the partnerships, the joint undertakings, obviously is of interest to our audience. Maybe as a first question, the current decision-making process on the Single Basic Act is ongoing. We are now in June, middle of June. Could you sketch a little the progress on this decision-making program? And yeah, to start with, where are we in the decision-making process at the moment?
Thank you very much. We have received now the amendments of the shadows and of the colleagues to my own report. And we have to do the compromise amendments until the 1st of July. And the vote in ITRE will be on the 15th of July. After the vote in ITRE, there is an announcement in plenary. And the announcement in plenary, it will be in the first plenary in the beginning of September. And there, if the process in the council is ready, it means that the process is finalized, because as you know, it's not a co-decision file, is a consent by the parliament. So if there is agreement at the council level, and if there is the consent of the parliament, if we have voted positively in ITRE and it has been announced in plenary, the process is finished. So we hope that in the beginning of September we will be finished, so we will be in time to start with the calls during this year. That is very important, I know, for all the joint undertakings to have to be able to execute, to have open calls, to open their calls and to execute already in 2021. The fact that we couldn't go faster is because there are time limits in the parliament between the different steps, and the requirement for the translation in all the language and legal times. The translation, I understand that we need to keep the multilingualism and that everyone needs to understand. But some of other limitations in time, I don't understand it. It delays the process. So we could go faster if these limitations in time are not there. So I hope that as part of this discussion that you probably have heard of the future of Europe, we also have a future of the European institutions that will have a process, a decision-making process that is much more agile, flexible. What we request that the GUs are, that we are asking the GUs to be flexible, agile, and that also the European institution and open. We think that we need to do this reform inside the institutions, that they are more agile, flexible, and open. But that will be for the future.
Yeah, I know. And if we want to be competitive to what is happening in Asia and in America, the decision-making process is a little, how to say, swifter, if I may say, compare sometimes what we experience here. Maybe just for my and our good understanding, once we are at the end of, let's say, the end of September, when we have the agreement on the Single Basic Act from the Council, we are not yet there, because still then that document needs to go through a translation process. Then it needs to be published in the official journal, and then it still has a standstill period. So this is all part of the legislative process, which we cannot get around, correct?
Yeah, correct. I'm saying it's finished from the negotiation and the rapporteur point of view, but it still needs to go through certain process, administrative process. And what I can promise is that I will keep an eye to make sure that it is a smooth process, and it is not delayed in any of these steps. But being announced and finished in the beginning of September, it will be in time that you can start in autumn your calls.
Thank you. And I think the whole community, the ECS community, and all the other joint undertakings are looking forward to the conclusion of this Single Basic Act. Maybe to go a little more into the strategic technology directions, the ECS, the digital is crucially important. We have recognized this during the lockdown and the pandemic, and to all or any other, digital applications in the direction of health, of industry, of transport, environment, call it. Digital is important. In that respect, what kind of alliances should we contemplate at European level in order to strengthen, our progress in this direction? And are there any boundaries? Yeah, do we have to worry about certain alliances?
Before we think about alliance, we need to invest inside the European Union in order to be strong in digital. We have the ambition to lead in digital, but in order to fulfill this ambition, there is a lot that we need to do. We need to do in infrastructures. We need to have the question of skills. We don't have enough skilled people, and related to that, and we can talk later, is also a question of gender. We are neglecting part of the population that are not choosing this area or are choosing in a very small percentage. We need to invest also in research, fundamental research, applied research, and we need to regain something that is very important for Europe, that is the capability to manufacturing. We cannot be leaders on digital if we do not have the capability to be independent on microprocessors, for example. That is essential. This doesn't mean that after we cannot import from other parts of the world or make alliance, but we need to know that if necessary, and if something goes wrong, we can do it ourselves, and we know how to do it, and we have the conditions to do it. And this is important in digital, is also important in all the fields, but especially in digital, that we want to be leaders, that all these that we really need to do. So we need to have the knowledge triangle very strong in terms of skills, in terms of research capacity, in terms of manufacturing capacity. And in the digital, we are quite good on some of the research, mainly on the software and more fundamental research. We have lost in the more applied and related to manufacturing. We have problems in the production itself, and we are missing the skills, and we are also need some more infrastructures. After we have these strengths inside the house, we can do the alliance. I'm very open into the alliance. We need to make alliance. We should not be a closed society in any case, and especially in research and innovation. But in order to open up to the others, we need to be strong. That is the first. I think that is important for us to do transatlantic with the US. It's important that we have, and from the side of the US, they have shown the willing to connect with us in clean tech, also in digital, in some common on the AI, in some common understanding, and that is important. China also keeping all the reciprocal respect to security and questions of cybersecurity, can be a partner in several areas, in general in Southeast Asia. So, but the condition to do these partnerships is not to be dependent on these partnerships. We have to do partnerships at the same level, and not to go back to a strong dependence as was shown during the COVID crisis, that we were so dependent in some of the areas. And in the digital, we continue to be very dependent, mainly in some components, and that we have to solve this question.
Clear. And what you refer to is the capability to manufacture. Yeah, I think that is an interesting question, specifically in our sector, in the electronic components and systems, and then mainly around everything to do with chips, let's call it. And that is a very capital-intensive sector. Yeah, to build the state-of-the-art current fab to make chips is very expensive. We talking order of magnitude of billions of euro. On the other side, we obviously have the current recovery and resilience fund. There is a lot of money. We have an upcoming IPCI. Do you see the interaction between, on one side, the funding instruments, and the other side, the ambition to gain more capability in manufacturing? Does that will work together?
Yes, we have an opportunity in the next few years to solve these questions, but we need to make sure that the funds are well applied. And I'm a bit worried about, because they need the member states and the regions need to apply these. To execute the funds in a very short time, is shorter than the usual European budget, is 4 years plus 2 of execution. So sometimes they go for projects that are less complex and then do not involve research or emerging technology, and that is a risk. So we need to make sure that, for example, they can, if they have the member states, if they or indicate now in their programs that they want to fund part of the recovery plan in the area of key digital technologies, they should do it immediately in their plans, and to start immediately negotiation with the member states, with the regions, that there are also investments that are complementary to the activities of the joint undertaking. And that is a work that should be done immediately now, because these programs have been now analyzed by the European Commission, and that should be in the plans from the beginning.
Very, very, very clear, and very happy to hear, because obviously we have a good working mechanism, in the Excel and in the KDT partnerships, where there is a close interaction between member states and European Commission under or for the ECS. We have a good running car. We just use the fuel of the Recovery and Resilience Fund, and we can drive further and faster. We are more than happy to eventually see and help to work this out.
The member states can use the Recovery and Resilience Plan for the national contribution, but again,
yes,
it needs to be in the plan, in the initial
yes,
plan.
I know. Yeah. And it depends a lot of the member states, how to say, opportunities and flexibility to use them for. Going a little forward in this same kind of thinking and reasoning, from the European perspective, we're trying to do so much on bringing the different European member states and technologies together from the different member states, from the European Union, in order to support the needs of society in the field of the key digital technologies. For instance, what you indicated, try to bring manufacturing capability back to Europe, and the European Commission, Parliament and Council launching different policy directions in this way. But from the society, from the citizen, this is not always very well understood, very well seen, very well perceived. There is not enough visibility of the European activities to the European citizen. You agree with this? What should we do more to make sure that they see what we are doing?
This is a common problem to all the joint undertakings and even to the Horizon in general and the previous framework programs. Now we have some parts that are better known, like the ERC, the European Research Council, and the Marie Curie. They start being better known in the member states, but in general, there is not enough information for the public in general about the excellent work that is funded through the Research and Innovation Framework Program. And you need to have more effort to give visibility to your work. And I think that this should be done in the member states and in the regions, and you need to target the media, not only the social media, but the traditional media. Television is still a very important way to communicate. Now the streaming, some documents that have been on a new technology, most of them Americans, unfortunately, they are become very popular. Why not to have a program in one of the streaming about the GUs or one GU or all the GUs that will be interested. So it's this kind of things that you really need to arrive to the citizens, because there is they are not aware of the work that has been done.
No, I agree. I understand and I agree. And your message is that we have to communicate more efficiently, obviously, and using, how to say, not only the new technologies, but also the traditional technologies. Still, a lot of the citizens are using traditional technologies like newspapers and televisions, but we should not forget also about the new ones. We excel. We have a YouTube channel, but we have not yet a TikTok channel, and that is for the next generation, for the younger generation. But that be very clear. Good. Another question, which I believe is of importance and relevance also to the wider public, is that traditionally industry, and more specifically also the ECS, the gender balance is not in balance. We know that it's more biased towards a male community than a female community, despite some of the efforts we are trying to attract. What should we do more? Yeah? How can we make that there are more good women engineers, women students, women technicians in our community? What does it take to get us there?
That is a problem in Europe and worldwide, mainly in the ICT. We starting improving the figures of the women participation in STEM, science, engineer, mathematics. In Europe, the figures have increased very much, but not in ICT. In ICT, they have even slightly decreased compared with the 80s. It's unbelievable. Women do not choose ICT areas. I have asked for an initiative report in the parliament that I have finished. It was voted. It was very well accepted. To try to analyze the reasons. There was a study done by the parliament to try to address the reasons, and the conclusions from this study and after my report is that the choice is done very early at a very early age. So we really need to target very young girls. And I think that the question, this culture of the games, the computer games, is a very boyish culture. So the girls are not attractive to the areas since the very early age. So we need to change that, and to have, for example, again in the media, it's very important. Role models are very important. The professors at the very in grammar school in very young age are very important to draw the attention of the girls of the informatics, to make them to like the fields and not to abandon everything that is related with digital, very simple things to make them to like digital from the very young age. Role models in the television, because we have very good examples. We have few, but very good examples that could have more visibility on television of women that are successful on the digital in the digital world. Because we have two phenomena. There are few women to choose, and they abandon more. The leaky pipeline phenomenon is higher than the other fields. So the figures is that we have only 18% of the professionals in ICT in Europe are women, and the students is 17%. So there is not a tendency to increase, and there is a lot of them that change the fields or go to work in something else. And this abandon of the field, of the field is also because we didn't achieve a critical mass. So because it's a very masculine world, they don't feel so easy, and they go to some other fields where they feel better. So it's very important because of gender equality. They are not participating in a digital economy that is a growing field with a lot of jobs, well-paid jobs, and we are increasing the pay gap and the pension gap. That is a problem because if they have lower salaries, they will have lower pensions. But also from the economic point of view and competitiveness of Europe, we are neglecting a huge talent that represents the women, and we need more skilled people. So we also need that women are engaged in these professions. So in my report, I recommended things for the family to be very aware since the beginning with the toys and with to the schools, also the employment. Because of the progress in the career, because it is also shown that they don't progress. The few ones that go to ICT, they have very slow progress in the career, much slower than the men, and after they try to abandon. So to make sure that in the firms they incentivize the women to stay, and to the society in general. Social communication, social media, that role models are visible in television, in newspapers, and also even in movies. And this study has shown that, for example, in the US, many women went to law studies because of the series with successful lawyers, women lawyers. Probably if we have some special women in cities that are digital, in the digital area, in cybersecurity, it will attract girls. These elements are very, very important, and we don't have. It's very unusual. We try to find cases to give as an example, and we couldn't find of a very well-known series where the main character is a digital engineer, high performance computing working. We have few in Portugal, but women, but not so visible in the media. Yes.
I feel that the study you're referring to is hugely interesting, yeah, with all the examples and the clarification you give. And to your last, question example about which movie would be featuring a female IT engineer.
You know any of the
I think it's. I was thinking, no, I do not really think about some.
Promote it.
No, true, and that is necessary. And I think we would be more than happy to share further that the conclusions of that study. And what I also feel is that there could be an opportunity to organize something specifically, if you agree with you, related to gender balance in the ICT ECS sector and what to do. Maybe we boil down to making a movie just for promotion effect. But also I take note of the fact that that we have to start very early, with the very young kids and girls, to promote them to be attracted to digital, to ECS, to gaming. What you indicated is a little more, how to say, boys
the subject
activity
of the
than
games
girls.
are very is for
Masculine.
the boys. Yeah,
masculine. My girls also like to game. I have to admit.
That's good. You need to
they
incentivize.
have. I'm not going to promote, but it's true. It could well be one of the reasons why boys are more attractive. But I also think it's a question of time. Yeah, it's evolving. The ECS sector is evolving. The education is evolving, and that it will take some time before the generation of the younger kids are at the age for engineering in order to to be more visible. So I think also it's a question of time. But again, I would be more than happy to work together with you to a specific event on gender balance in the ECS sector in the upcoming months. I think that is of crucial importance. A very interesting interview, Ms. Carvalho. And maybe as a final question, maybe we turn around a little the roles between us. Do you have any question to me as director of the Excel in the future KDT joint undertaking, or even wider to the governing board of the Excel KDT? Is there anything you would call upon us?
What are your plans to have a less innovation divide Europe, that you have in your area more activities in the countries that are less represented in the joint undertaking?
It's a problem, and it's a problem which is a little common to many of the joint undertakings, kind of weaknesses. And as you referred to, it may have to do a lot with communication and visibility of the activities we do in those countries. Smaller countries, especially on the the new member states do have some less participation, despite the fact that especially on many embedded and software applications, they are hugely strong. So we need to be more visible in those countries, and we need to explain better in the local, in the local community, in the local language, on how to participate. Now, unfortunately, the last, let's call it, year and a half, we hardly have been available to go around and make a road tour to go and present ourselves. The only things which could happen were through digital channels, and usually with people we already knew. So to get a new network, I think we have to open the borders and go to visit those countries and meet with the institutions, universities, funding instruments, in order to attract them to be more present in our activities, together with the ministries, who in our case will be the co-funding partners for the Excel and KDT joint undertaking. Thank you very much, Ms. Carvalho. It's our pleasure, and obviously we hope very much to keep on working very closely and very constructively together. And we only wish that the Single Basic Act, with you as the rapporteur, get to a very soon and safe landing for the benefit of all the ongoing joint undertakings. I thank you very much for being with us today, and thank you.
Thank you very much.